So I've broken my thoughts down into 5 pros and 4 cons, all spoiler free of course. And for those of you who have already watched the movie, stick around till this timestamp for some spoiler filled commentary. Let's face it, that's what we're here for, and this movie delivers. In fact, I felt they were breaking the fourth wall like every 30 seconds. Can too much of something be a bad thing? I don't think so. Ryan Reynolds is really funny and he made this character his own. If nothing else, he'll definitely get a few chuckles out of you. Especially with his digs at Disney, the MCU and Kevin Feige. I was kinda disappointed there was nothing on the MCU though. Deadpool 1 and 2 weren't known for their complex plots. It's never supposed to be high-stakes, world-ending stuff either. This changed when Deadpool entered the MCU. The moment I heard that term, anchor being, I could see where this movie was going. It wasn't a complete dumpster fire, sure, but trying to make sense out of the story progression was impossible. Why did this happen? Here's a thought. You'd be forgiven for thinking the R rating on this movie was purely because of the foul language. There's a lot of it. But no, Deadpool was actually the first Marvel film to show blood on screen. And boy does the action not disappoint. In the opening credits itself, they make sure you know this is not a typical MCU movie. There's blood and gore everywhere. Beautiful. Like most villains in the MCU, Cassandra Nova felt flat. She didn't get enough time on screen to establish herself. Her motives were non-existent and she seemed to change her mood on a whim. I hate them. I like them now. I hate everyone now. Pick a lane, lady. I guess the MCU wanted a forgettable antagonist for this one. Someone who didn't take anything away from the stars of the movie. And the less I say about the TVA or paradox, the better. There's very little I can say about this point without getting into spoilers. To keep it short and sweet, there are a ton of cameos in this movie. And yes, every single one was so good. I don't know who controls budgeting at Disney nowadays, but they really need to give it to the guys who managed the MCU in the early 2010s. Spend more money on CGI. Please, it's not that hard. I can't say more without spoiling stuff. But instead of DC becoming more like Marvel, Marvel has chosen to become more like DC in the CGI department. Don't get me wrong, most of the movie has good CGI, but the parts that didn't, they were glaringly bad. Like Black Panther versus Killmonger levels of bad. There's not much to say about this. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman is a reason enough to go watch this movie. It's so effortless. Like two people who were born to play two characters who naturally vibe off each other. The best parts of the movie are when it's just the two of them on screen. Talking to each other or trying to kill each other. Every single second is a masterpiece. Again, can't say much here without getting into spoilers, so I'll keep it simple. Some of the fourth wall breaking jokes around the MCU are on how every movie nowadays has a multiverse ending threat. And by the end of it, Deadpool and Wolverine also turns into a movie that has a multiverse ending threat. Can a movie be too meta? The movie relies heavily on nostalgia. You could even go as far as saying it's an ode to early 2000s superhero movies. From back when Marvel was at its lowest, the first time. Is it a coincidence Marvel signed Robert Downey Jr. back then and he saved the MCU? And now we're sitting in 2024 and Marvel just signed Robert Downey Jr. again to save the MCU. What a blockbuster announcement, by the way. Anyway, back to Deadpool and Wolverine. There are more pros than cons for this movie, which means you can go and watch it. Let me put it this way. If you enjoyed the first couple Deadpool movies, you'll enjoy this one too. If you're a fan of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, you're going to enjoy this movie. And if you're a fan of early 2000 superhero movies, you will definitely enjoy this movie. Is it one of the best MCU movies post-Avengers Endgame? For sure, but that's not saying a lot when the competition's so bad. I'm going to give it a solid 85%. Now, it's time for spoilers. There's no structure, yeah, I'm just riffing, so suit up. Where do I even begin? I know, the cameos. Here are my favorites. Henry Cavill as Wolverine, Wesley Snipes as Blade, Channing Tatum as Gambit, and Chris Evans as the Human Torch. I loved every single second. And of course, the fourth wall breaks make every scene better. Deadpool telling Henry Cavill he'll be treated better at the MCU. Wesley Snipes saying there'll never be another Blade, that he is the only one. Channing Tatum speaking in a French accent you can barely understand, and Chris Evans just letting it rip as Johnny Storm once again. Especially the end credits scene. Coming to the plot, let me tell you my biggest problem. So Paradox is creating this time ripper that's supposed to prune Deadpool's universe because its anchor being Logan died, right? He's already sent Wolverine and Deadpool to the void. He has a direct line of contact to Pyro, who tells him they're on their way to Cassandra Nova, who can maybe help them get out of there. And instead of telling Pyro to do everything he can to help her stop them, his first thought is, hey, you go kill that lady who's way more powerful than both of them combined.
Not a great plan.
And as for Cassandra, her motive is that the TVA just tried to assassinate me, so now I'm going to leave the void and destroy every other universe so that there's nothing left but the void. Not kill the person who ordered the assassination. Not destroy the TVA. Just straight up destroy the multiverse. Someone make it make sense, please. Next up, the scene with Deadpool and Happy Hogan. Too long. Nobody cares. Also, why was X-23 in the void? If it's established that Logan took place in the Deadpool universe, why was she pruned? I get why Blade, Gambit and Elektra were there, but why Laura? Her universe was still going strong. I think Juggernaut and Sabretooth were done dirty. They could have also cut out every single scene with Nice Pool and Dog Pool and nobody would have cared. That being said, Mary Poppins was a scene stealer. A lot of the jokes didn't land if you didn't have context. So if you're not a diehard fan of the MCU or Marvel Comics or just the superhero genre in general, you're going to struggle. The part at the end of the fight between Deadpool and Wolverine and all the other Deadpools where they jump out of that bus, the CGI made me cringe so bad. How can you have a $200 million production budget and produce something like that? It's unforgivable. And this brings us to the end of the video. I thank you for watching all the way till the end and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you're eager for my next video, consider subscribing so you don't miss it.